everybody, it's Stephen here for another episode of the Idiot Quilter for November the 19th, 2024. It's my sister's birthday today, my little sister. My little sister turns 59. Yeah, I'm going to have a lot of fun this year with her, getting her excited about turning 60, which I'm sure she is not. But anyways, she's got a year to go. Okay, let's take a look at what I've been working on. And let me just switch screens here. Here we go. All right, this is and you may recognize it. 2 years ago, a book came out, may have been out longer than that, but I got it about 2 years ago, called the Barnar Sampler Quilt. And it's an amazing quilt. It is made up of all kinds of different sizes of blocks. They all have sort of a very traditional Barnar-like look to them. And I started that quilt then. And I made this block, not this actual block, but this design of block in other fabrics. And I had a world of problems with it. My sizing wasn't coming out right, and I couldn't figure out what the problem was. I got so frustrated with it, I put it in a project box and promptly forgot about it forever. That is very rare for me to do something like that, because usually I will persevere and see a project through to the end, but this one, no, I didn't. Well, about a week ago, I'm looking through my stash of project boxes for future projects, and I saw this in the box, the booklet, and I had all the fabrics picked out as well, and they were still in there, and some of them were cut. So I thought, I'm going to give it another try. But I changed my colorway this time, because I've got a ton of bundles of fabric, like fat quarter bundles and that, and I thought, I'm going to grab a couple of those because they coordinate with each other. And, I won't have enough in a bundle to do the entire quilt, but between a couple of bundles that kind of go together, it'll look fine. And so I did this again. And this is the end result. Now, yes, it looks pretty good. But guess what? It was not coming out. When I was getting the final rows put together, it was not coming out the size it was supposed to. It was smaller. And some of the blocks or some of the units were not fitting together properly. So I started to analyze it. And I fixed it, but I didn't fix it in a way that I'm happy with. The way I needed to fix it was there were a few pieces on here that I had to change the seam allowance from 1/4 inch to 1/8 of an inch. Now, I don't want to work with 1/8 of an inch. For the main reason is when I put it on a long arm, when it's done, will those seams open up? I was very careful when I sewed them to make sure they weren't right on the edge of the fabric, that there was some, fabric there so it wouldn't unravel. But I'm still a little shell-shocked about that. Now, I cut enough pieces. There are 2 of this. This is the largest block in the whole quilt, and there are 2 of these. So I had pieces, I cut the pieces for 2 out at the same time. I'm going to, later this week probably on Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen, I'm going to make a second one. And I'm going to pay really, really particular attention to making sure that each unit I make is trimmed exactly to the size it's supposed to be according to the pattern. Now, I was doing that with this, but I'm going to be even more careful and see what happens there. And if I have a problem with that coming out the size, then I have a decision to make. Am I going to carry on with this project and just do what I did with this one and hope that the other blocks turn out right? Do I do some quilt math and figure out if there's a problem with the pattern? But lots of people have done this pattern, and I haven't heard of anybody having a problem with it. I should probably I think I did do a search to see if there was any correction to this pattern, but I didn't find anything. So I don't know what it is. It's really a mystery. The first block that I did back 2 years ago, I put it down, I looked at it again, and I just put it down to the fact that I didn't know as much about quilting then as I do now, and I was kind of sloppy with my seam allowances at that point. I don't know. But I was pretty confident this was going to turn out okay and without any problems. Well, you didn't. So, I don't want to be fudging them. I don't want eighths of an inch seam allowances either. Just don't. That's just a disaster waiting to happen. So, I'll keep you up to date on my progress with this little bugger, to say the least. Now, the next quilt, I didn't do this recently. In fact, I did this quilt in 2021, according to the label that I had on it. One of the few quilts that I actually have a label on. And the reason I got it out and took another picture of it is because we were outside the other day. The neighbors were out putting up their Christmas lights. That time of the year, don't you know? And we got talking, and I was telling them about, donating quilts to different groups and how they're basically thankless. And one of the groups I've donated a quilt to a year ago was the local senior citizens community center. And our next door neighbors are involved with that. In fact, it was our next door neighbors that approached me to donate one of my quilts for a raffle, for a fundraiser for the community center. And I did. And I think they made about $400. They weren't selling the tickets for a lot of money, not like Hope Air. I think tickets were like, you got a ticket for $2, you got 3 for $5, that kind of a thing. So, if they made $400, they sold a lot of tickets. And you have to remember that the clientele that's buying the tickets are seniors, and some seniors are on a very strict pension, so they can't afford a lot. But I'm very happy to help them out with that. And I mentioned to them, I said, we get together with them before Christmas for a Christmas drink. And we've done that now for the last couple of years. 1 year at their place, 1 year at our place. This year we're going to their place. And they brought that up. And I said to them, great, we would love to. Just let us know when. But I said, no gifts. You see, it was getting a bit competitive. Well, not competitive, but I mean, I like giving things to people. That doesn't bother me at all. And I like giving things that I have made for people too. And so I gave them a quilt. I've given them a quilt. I've given them wall hanging. I've given them a table runner kind of a thing over the last couple of years. And I think I put an unfair onus on them to make them think that they should give us something as well. And I don't want to do that. They're pensioners as well. And, Christmas time, they have grandchildren and children, and they have a fairly, large extended family. So, yeah, they don't need to give us anything with that. And I told them that. I said, no gifts. And they said, right, no gifts. We're not doing that. I said, however, I said, if at any time you would like a quilt or a table runner or something, I'd be more than happy to have you go through what I've got and pick out something for yourself, or if you're looking for something for someone in your family, because they're just sitting in big bags in my Lucy room, never seeing the light of day. So the gentleman, Rick's his name, he said, I didn't really want to ask, but we're having that auction again this year. And I said, say no more, not a problem. If you'd like a quilt, I will pick one out for you for the raffle this year. And I went through several different quilts, and I let Walter take a look too and give his opinion. And we both decided that we thought this one would be a great raffle quilt. And I love this quilt. I absolutely love it. I have no place to hang it in my house. I like quilts with houses. And to be quite honest, I forgot I even made this one because according to the label, I made this in 2021. And if you to look at the quilting on it very closely, I did all that quilting before I had Lucy, my long arm machine. I did it with rulers on my domestic sewing machine. And I have to say that I think I did a pretty good job with that. I'm kind of impressed with myself, given the fact that that's how I used to quilt my quilts. But I've, well, you get better with a little practice. But there was no way I was ever going to do free motion. No, this is as close to free motion as I ever got. And I think, too, even though it's not perfect in the quilting, it's a little wonky here and there, I think it kind of suits the overall vibe of this quilt. So that quilt I have folded all up, rolled it up, and I took it over to the neighbors, and it'll go out for auction very soon to raise some money for our local senior citizens community center. And I'm very happy to do that. I'm very happy to do that because they're very appreciative as well. Which, as I said yesterday in my rant on my vlog, if you caught it, um, when you give something to somebody or you do something for somebody else, yes, you should expect a thank you. It doesn't have to be a big monetary donation to you. It doesn't have to be a returned gift or anything like that. Just the words thank you are enough so that people know that you appreciate the little things you may have done for them, like hold the door open. I talked about that yesterday, or whatever. You know, we need a little more kindness in this world because it's just too easy not to be. And I don't think we should go down that road. Anyways, I'm not getting into that rant again. You can see that if you haven't already on my vlog from yesterday. Okay, let's move on to what's coming up. What's new? Well, announcements for this week, just basically Sewing with Stephanie and Steven, as we always have it on Wednesdays. Links in the show notes below. All are welcome. And yeah, so what else? Well, in the past week on So Chatty, we finished my shirt. And here it is. I made a shirt. And I am darn proud of myself. I am. Now, yes, Walter helped me. He's a great teacher. I was surprised. I didn't think he'd have that kind of patience with me. And I was surprised at how not easy, but it wasn't quite as intimidating as I thought making a shirt would be. Now, that's not taking anything away from Walter and the time he puts into his shirt. And this one has a few little things that could have been done better. Like apparently we put the buttons about 1/8 of an inch over too far. Who'd know? And I did take a few chewies out of the fabric, but we were able to fix those up as I was working on it. One thing that really frustrates me about garment makers is, as quilters, we use the expression, that'll quilt out. They use the expression, yeah, it's close enough. And as quilters, close enough is not good enough. No, it has to be very precise. Just like I was saying about that Barnstar sampler block, it has to be precise. But anyways, did I enjoy the process of making this shirt? Yes and no. At times I found it a little tedious, but part of the reason for that was I had never done one before. And yeah, that was about it though. Will I make another one? I don't know. I think I really need to be in the mood. Or if I see some fabric that I go, oh my God, I need a shirt out of that, then yeah, I will. I'm not going to do it real soon because, well, you'll see I have a pile of projects to get on with before, we come to the end of the year kind of a thing, before Christmas even. So yeah, but Walter was very patient with me. He's a good teacher. And even though we didn't start out to make it a tutorial, a series of videos on So Chatty, I think you could watch them if you've never made a shirt before, and you could probably manage to make one. Yeah. So if you've been intimidated about making a shirt or something like that, garment sewing, it's not that bad, especially if you're a quilter, okay? The most frustrating thing, as I said, you're going to have is the lack of precision. I'm not saying that it's sloppy, okay, but it's just not quite as tight with things as it is with quilting. So, yep, that's why I'm wearing it today. And if you saw the vlog yesterday, I was wearing it yesterday. And if you saw the Steven and Walter live, I was wearing it there. Now, you're going to say, does this man not change his clothes? Stinky, stinky, stinky. No. I did. I only wore the shirt for those few minutes we were on Steven and Walter live, okay? And, well, I did wear it all day yesterday. But it wasn't like I was running around getting all sweaty, okay? And this will be the last day of wearing this shirt before it hits the wash. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm doing my part for the environment. Like, I don't wear a shirt once and throw it in the wash. No, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. But, I'm quite conscious of the fact that things do need to be washed. So don't worry. I don't want any comments about, oh, you pig. You're wearing the same shirt 12 days in a row. I have never done that. My philosophy is if the shirt doesn't walk across the room and jump in the washing machine on its own, then it's still good for another day. I'm joking. Okay, moving right along. Let's see, a reminder. The quilt I donated to the charity Hope Air, I have a link to it below. The draw is on December the 5th. I spoke about this on Stephen and Walter Live. I'm a little disappointed in the way that they are advertising it because essentially they aren't. And I don't understand that. I sent them an email and said, I can't find a link on your website for the raffle. I've been putting the link out there on my show notes, but I have a very specialized clientele. I don't have that many subscribers. And out of those subscribers, most of them are quilters, and they're not going to want to buy a raffle on a quilt because they make quilts. So, I'm just wondering what you're doing about that. And say, oh, yeah, they're going to put it up on their social media, i.e. Facebook, really soon. They'll let me know. As of the time of recording this, I haven't seen it. Haven't had a note from them. I'm a little concerned, as I said on Stephen Walter Live, because, it's supposed to be a fundraiser. How are they going to make money? So, we'll see. Maybe there's something going on I don't know about. And yeah, it's a little disheartening though, Okay, moving on. All right. As you saw in the title, I've 3D printed an amazing sewing tool. Well, you may know about this. I mean, I don't think this is anything new under the sun, although I have never seen one before. One of my subscribers asked me if I knew about this thing and thought maybe I could 3D print it. And she suggested too that I could, give them out at retreats and things with my logo on them. Well, at first, my first reaction to that was, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. But then I looked into it. Oh my goodness. What a thing. It's so simple, so easy to print in my 3D printer, and so, well, binding, okay? This is called a binding spool. And essentially, you use it while you're binding. And, oh, well, here you go. I'll show you. I made a video of how it works. Okay, so one of my subscribers suggested that I make something called a binding spool. And I wasn't really sure what that was, but she thought it could be made on my 3D printer, and she suggested, you could make it personalized and all that kind of stuff. So I went and looked for something like this, and lo and behold, I found this little device that I'm going to show you right here. And it is a spool. Oops. Best way to show you. It is a spool. As you can see, get it in the camera shot. And I have some binding, some scrap binding for now for demo purposes wrapped around it. So what do you do with this? Okay, so you wear it. There is a chain, one of those chains, ball chains kind of a thing that you can buy anywhere. And you just place that over your head like this. And you see it's hanging down with my binding on it. And I've got it the wrong way because I want to put my binding with the raw edges to the raw edges. So there we go. It's all wound up on here. There's a little slot in the side, if you can see it right here, for when you make your binding and you wind it on here, you just put the tail of it in here and that'll hold it from rolling off your spool. Okay, so we've got that. Now let's go down here so you can see I'm wearing it right now. And I've got a strip of fabric here. I'm going to pretend this is my quilt. And I'm just going to roll a little bit of this off, line it up raw edge to raw edge as you normally would, and start to sew. And let's see if I can get the camera then so you can see this. Here we go. And as you're sewing along, your binding unrolls from the spool. Isn't that cool? This means that your binding's not going to fall on the floor. You're not going to step on it. You're not going to put your sewing chair on top of it or get it caught in anything, get it all twisted. And it rolls off this very, very nicely. So thank you to the subscriber that gave that suggestion to me. Am I mass produce these? No. Because to be honest, putting this little chain onto it right here, getting the one end into the little, clasp was a little tricky. But I was trying it with a much finer chain and found that the thicker chain works better. But really cool. So if you've got somebody in your family that has a 3D printer, all they need to do is go on to Thingiverse and do a search for binding spool, and they will find this little item. And it took like about an hour to print out, or a little less, and it's dandy. This works. Who would have thought? What a trick, eh? I think it's amazing. So amazing that I made one for everybody that's going to the retreat in Georgia at Christmas time. That's how impressed I am with this. So yeah, and I am so sorry I can't remember. I think it was her name is France. Yes, like the country. I think it was. I hope I've got it right. If I got it wrong, tell me. But made the suggestion. So thank you so much for that suggestion. That made my week. It really did. Okay, speaking of making your week and looking at pretty things, I didn't say we were looking at pretty things, but we are. We're about to look at pretty things. This is the subscriber's quilt of the week, and it comes from Sherry Jones. And by the way, before you see this, just to let you know, in case I forget, I need more quilts to show. So if you've got a creation that you love, send me one picture of it and send me 50 words or less, just telling me a little bit about it, the background. And I will be more than happy to display it here, to feature it here on an episode of The Idiot Quilter. So here's Sherry Jones's lovely creation. This week's quilt from a subscriber is not a quilt, but a table runner, and a very patriotic one, if I do say so myself, at least patriotic for Americans. And it's beautiful. I mean, I think Americans got the best color scheme for their flag, the red, white, and blue. We're just red and white. Blue would be nice to have in it. But this looks really, really interesting. And it's, if you look, each one of the stars is slightly different than the other, both in the color and the layout. And I think it's the color that makes the layout look a little different. This is from Sherry Jones, and Sherry Jones writes, "This is a patriotic table runner made with blocks from a Facebook block exchange." So that is really quite cool, and it's a good size one too, as you can see with the size of her dining room table. I love the border too. It's got little red and blue and white stars in it, which tie in beautifully with the larger stars in the blocks. So this is gorgeous. I really like it. It almost makes me wish I was an American so I could make something like that too, in those colors. So thanks, Sherry, for sharing your beautiful creation with us. So that takes me to the YouTube of the week. And I mentioned this person before. His name is Cornelius Quilting. I think that's how you say it. I am going to be interviewing him in a few weeks' time. We have set up a date for all of that. That'll come out probably mid-December. We haven't done the interview yet. I'm really looking forward to it because he is a really interesting person and a wonderful sewing instructor. And he has a video up right now called 5 Surprisingly Useful Sewing Tricks. And he starts off by talking about one of those tricks involves water. So here's my review of that. This week's YouTube video of the week comes from an interesting individual whose site I have reviewed before, called Cornelius Quilting. And this time he is talking about 5 surprisingly useful sewing tricks. And some of these are really going to surprise you. The very first one he talks about is using water, but not necessarily in the way you think. You're probably thinking, yeah, use water in a spray bottle in place of putting water in your iron for steam. It'll save the life of your iron. Well, no, there are other uses as well. He also shows you how to easily put a sleeve into a shirt you might be making, which is a technique that Walter uses as well, that you've seen on our So Chatty playlist. And he's got so many more. But the thing I like about his videos are they're very informative, but they're also very entertaining. He is quite a character, and I mean that in a good way. And spoiler alert, I've reached out to Cornelius for an interview, so that should be coming up soon. So stay tuned. So if you want to learn something about some of the useful tools that you probably already have in your sewing room and how to use them, and it's surprisingly how to use them, then you'll want to check out Cornelius's video, 5 Surprising Useful Sewing Tricks. So I have lots of future projects. I always do, as you know, and one of them is something that I saw on Facebook. You may have heard of this before. I never had. It's basically a variation of a log cabin quilt, but it looks like staircases. It has depending on the colors you pick and the placement of the strips for the log cabin block, it looks like 3-dimensional stairs. So here's what I'm talking about. This week's future project is one that I stumbled upon on Facebook when I was scrolling through one day, and I saw this, and it's called the stair step or the staircase quilt block, and it is quite an interesting looking pattern. If you look at it really closely, you can see that this is basically a log cabin, but the way you pick and arrange your colors makes it look like this 3-dimensional set of stairs. It reminds me of a painting, and I can't think of who the artist is, but it's famous, where there are a series of stairs in every which way in the painting. They go upside down, sideways, and that kind of thing. And I think this is very intriguing. Now, I said that I actually did screen captures from Facebook, and I couldn't find Facebook, but I did look it up, and this pattern is available across the internet. So if you just do a search, you will find the pattern. Now, this particular one is someone's Etsy shop. I don't know who this is by. It says designed by Quilt Woman Designs. So as you can see up here, there are a lot of different variations of this kind of thing. So you can get the pattern online as well. So I've got this in my set, and I'm really thinking I want to give this a go and see how this works out. So anyways, I thought you might be interested in this particular pattern, and who knows, I may get to it someday real soon. So not sure when I'll get to that project because I've got a lot of projects happening. And so, yeah, here's what I'm working on right now. So what I'm working on this week is a little bit of a mishmash of all kinds of sort of projects that have been started but not yet finished. And this is one of them. This was started at the Quilts of Valor Sew Day that we went to a couple of weeks ago. And I made a video about that, and I'm sure you've seen it. But this was the packaged kit that they gave each of us to work on. Now, they were in different color schemes, and of course we picked the blue because Walter and I both like blue, but I'm finding this one just a little on the boring side, so let me just walk around here because that's all it is. And I think a Quilt of Valor needs to be a little bit more exciting because you're giving it to a vet, and you know, it's an important thing. So I'm going to spice it up a little bit. What I'm thinking is I did these applique, I did them in the hoop on my embroidery machine, and I'm going to put these in the middle of that quilt and carry on with the other stripes. So it'll be principally those stripes you see there, but it will be broken up in the center with these maple leaves. And I kept them in a color scheme that works with what's already there on the quilt. At least that's what I'm going to try to do. So we'll see how that all works out. And other projects, oh yeah, this corner. I decided that my travel sewing machine that used to sit out there but wasn't being used, I would leave in my tote bag that, I take to retreats and things like that. It's all in the bag, ready to go. If I need it, I can pull it out because I need this space. Yeah, I need this space. There are projects there that I need to get on with, including the Barnstar sampler, which I showed you earlier. Still out on that one. Excuse me. Out on that one yet as to whether or not I'm going to actually carry on with it because of the problems I've been having. But anyways, that's what I'm up to. And oh yeah, there's a few other little projects laying over here as well. There's always something to do. But my 3D printers are quiet right now after that big build that I showed on my blog the other day of the Christmas house. And I'm not sure what my next project's going to be on these yet either. But, I'll find something. So that takes me to the online quilt store for this week. And this one is local to my area. Well, local as in about an hour and a half away. But I found out about this from some of the ladies we were sewing with at the Quilt of Valor Sew Day. And I'd never heard of this particular quilt store before, but I thought I'd explore it. And she has an online presence as well as a brick and mortar store. And I will have to get there at some time in the future, road trip. But in the meantime, here's my review of Chloe Quilting. This week's online quilt shop is called Chloe Quilting, and I just came upon this recently. It was recommended to me by some of the ladies that were at the Quilt of Valor Sew Day, and it's in the area of Trenton as well. We'll check that out right now. So it's not that far away, really, from me, within about an hour and a half's drive. So this is the opening page. And she says, hello, everyone. We're open. I'm having an amazing time. I had the pleasure of reconnecting with many familiar faces and meeting some wonderful new ladies. We are now offering in-store shopping with hundreds of fabric bowls to choose from, and we've expanded to 2 floors filled with fabric fun. So it's supposed to be a really cool quilt store. So it's worth a road trip one day to go down and probably check it out. But here's the opening page, the front page of the website, and it is called Chloe Quilting. Don't think I mentioned that a moment ago. But we have this, and she has what's on sale, their classes, new products. Does carry tilde, which is good. And it looks like she might have some very interesting things like Queen of Ween. That's kind of interesting. It's a doll panel. It is located in Grafton, which is a little town just east of Cobourg, if you're familiar with Ontario, this area of Ontario. So let's jump in and do some shopping here. And let's check out her fabrics. Okay, so the way she has this organized, product category, fabrics, notions, patterns, pre-cuts, etc. She does have some things in garment sewing, it looks like, this Queen of Ween, some flannel, some quilt kits, and fireside. And it's all laid out here. So let's go into their fabric section. And we have on the left bar, we have everything laid out and by name of the company or designer, which is, she's got quite a bit to choose from. It looks like, according to the numbers next to this. You can organize it by brand as well and by price. So I like this sidebar feature on a website because it makes finding what you want much easier. So let's take a look at cotton. And we have things listed by type or name of fabric. So let's pop into something. Let's try the Riley Blake Schoolhouse, and we're looking for price. Now, the ladies told me that most of her fabric is all the same price, and that's $18.50 a meter, which is definitely reasonable. It's kind of in the middle ground between, you know, ultimate sewing, inexpensive, to, you know, the high end kind of thing. So I think that's a fair price right now, given what fabric is costing. And yeah, now this one is more on the Halloween bin, but it was one I picked at random. But let's go back into cotton and take a look at some of the other ones. Moda Collage, Wildflowers, that's interesting looking. Again, $18.50 a meter. So yeah, her selection looks pretty good. Now, of course, she does have Tilda, and I know a lot of people love Tilda fabrics. I'm not really one for Tilda. Now, she's got Tilda Pie in the Sky because I find it a little busy for my taste, but it is beautiful fabric. Some Riley Blake. I'm just looking here to see what she does offer in Tilda. Go to the sidebar. Tilda Pie in the Sky. That looks about like the only line. So I have a feeling that this probably changes depending on availability. Timeless Treasures, Northcott. Let's take a look at the Northcott. And Alcohol Ink, that's been around for a while, so this is a little bit of an older fabric line. But again, all 1850. So I think the selection is good, and navigation of the website seems to be pretty good. So far, I am impressed with all of those kind of things. Let's go back into shop again and take a look at, say, pre-cuts. Several sold out, but looks like she's pretty much keeps a standard price on things. $62.99, $47.50. Yeah, these prices are all in the market. So nothing there. And actually, not a bad, not a bad selection of pre-cuts. Yeah, nothing there to really get too upset about. She has brand Moda, Maywood Studio, Free Spirit. If I go into Maywood Studio for them, yep, prices there are fair as well too. So that, so far, I see nothing that I need to take any of my rating points off of. Let's take a look at, I like this Queen of Ween. I've never heard of before. It's really quite cool. Again, $18.50 a meter. I really think that's kind of cool. It'd be great for a Halloween quilt. Yeah, I've never seen that line. Okay, let's go back up here to shop. And let's take a look. I think I saw she had wide backs. It's probably under fabrics. Yeah, there we go. Let's take a look at the selection here. $32.99. Okay, that's about average. That's about average for wide back. Might be a little bit more towards the expensive side. I really think a fair price is $30 a meter, but you know, if I can get what I want, oh, I like this, the color flow. I think I bought some of that some time ago somewhere else. Not a bad selection really. They're all $32.99 a meter, and she has 3 pages of them. So yeah, ooh, some pretty ones there. Yeah, actually, good selection, I think, of wide back. So I am impressed by that. So again, nothing I can see that I should take a point off for my rating. All right, let's check out patterns. And yeah, standard pricing for patterns. It looks like she has a lot of Bella. Oh no, yeah, Villa Rose designs. That's what I meant. Which are usually on a card, and that's about the going price for that. So she's got a lot of those. And she has some garment and some bag patterns, 5 pages of them. So yeah, She's got a good selection of patterns as well. Okay, what else can we check out? Now, what about, well, she's got quilt kits. She has two. Well, that's okay. But both are kind of interesting. This one especially, Our Fair Home quilt kit. That looks like fun. All right, let us go back to shop. And now, she does have Fireside, if you're interested. $31.50, that's not a bad price for Fireside. And does she have much to choose from? Well, she's got enough, I think. Something there that you could find if you're into Fireside. I am not. I've never worked with Fireside, and I don't think I will. Notions. Okay. She's got some stabilizer, fleece batting. Okay, so she's selling the Scanny collection. That's silk batting. Ooh. 96 by 108, $82 for that. Rulers. Okay, I have a feeling. Okay, thread 2 in here. Looks like she likes Scooterman. And Metler. And those prices look about average for that kind of thing. Now I'm wondering if she does have batting. Yeah, so she's got, you know, your standard selection of notions. Hobs. She only shows two for Hobbs, and we've already seen those, the silk polyester and unbleached cotton. The queen size is $58.99, so I don't think she sells batting off the bolt, and she doesn't list anything there. She does have fashion and accessories, t-shirts. Okay, not my cup of tea, but maybe yours. And anything else we should look at here? Yeah, okay, I think that's it for shopping. Let's check out her classes. Okay, just nothing really listed, just her contact information, and in the calendar, yeah, calendar is blank for no calendar. So maybe that's a future development coming. About us tells a little bit more there. Contact information with her business hours, Monday through to Thursday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., Saturday, 10 to 4 p.m. Friday and Sunday, she's closed. Interesting that she's closed on a Friday. I mean, most quilt stores are closed on a Sunday, but more like a Sunday and a Monday. So she's open on Mondays. So that's interesting. So let's see, what else has she got up here? We didn't find anything about shipping policy. There it is. Flat rate shipping is calculated at checkout for domestic shipping within the United States. If you need shipping outside of the USA, please contact me directly. Okay. Why does it say United States? She's a Canadian store. That's confusing me. If you need shipping outside of the USA, please contact me directly. Huh? Is this a mistake? She's in Ontario. There's where she's located. So why would she be saying flat rate shipping is calculated at checkout for domestic shipping within the United States? I think she meant Canada. I'm taking a point off for that. I'm sorry, but that's wrong. Okay, you're a Canadian store. You need to talk about Canadian shipping. So yeah. Okay. So that is the only thing I can find to criticize. And Hawaiian clothing. I don't know what that is. Oops, that's not available. Okay, I am taking half a point off for that as well. If you have links that are broken, not good on your website. And they do have a newsletter, which I've signed up for because she's having different sales They'll come up. She just had a November flash sale. Wonder if I go on that. Does that show us anything? 25% off. And oh, okay, I'm a little confused. Did this not say it was last weekend at the time of filming this, recording this, November the 9th, November flash sale? But it is this coming weekend for me, November 16th and 17th. She doesn't say whether this is in store only or on the website as well. Okay, well, that I'm taking half a point off for that because I'm confused. It's confusing me. Okay, yes, I'm a hard reviewer. I'm sorry about that. Okay, well, that's all I think I can say now about the Chloe quilting. I think it would be worth a little drive to her actual store, but I may order online at some point in the future as well. So my overall rating, for the reasons that I've already given, I give this online quilt store, Chloe Quilting, an 8 out of 10. You may want to check it out. Okay, so that brings me to the end of this episode. Just an advance. I was going to say advance warning. I don't mean warning. I mean sort of an advance notice. That's the word I want. Words fail me. Pop-up sew day. I'm either going to have it on Saturday, November the 30th, so the last Saturday of the month, or on Saturday, December the 7th, the first Saturday of December. I haven't decided yet. There's a few things that are up in the air yet in my schedule. Once I have those settled out, you will be the first to know when it's going to be. I think I'm leaning towards December 7th because I'm thinking of having sort of a special Christmassy edition. What that will look like, I don't know. But I have these thoughts. I have a lot of thoughts in my head. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But anyway, stay tuned. I will make the formal announcement about that within another week, week and a half. Okay? All right. So I hope you have a great week. Go out there and create something gorgeous. I know you're probably, my American friends, I know you're looking forward to probably Thanksgiving, because that's the kickoff for Christmas, I think. And of course, Black Friday. Everybody's looking for the sales there. And yeah, so you're probably now starting to think about, oh, I should get those Christmas projects done. Don't have a lot more time. It's scary, I know. Okay, have a great week. We'll see you later. Bye for now.